Well, welcome to my channel, welcome to Club Fed. I did 4 years in prison and I'm still not dead. Subscribe to the channel and give it a like. And share this video with someone tonight, yeah. Hi, welcome to Club Fed. My name is Sean. I did a 52-month sentence for wire fraud at FCI Florence Federal Prison Camp in Florence, Colorado. And I got out about a year ago. I've been making videos to inform people, help people go through, people that are going through pretrial, been indicted, and are scared to go to prison, have lots of questions about prison, or just people out there that are curious about prison. And when I say prison, I'm more, my videos are more towards the white-collar, non-violent criminals that go to federal prison camps and the lows. I don't know too much about the penitentiaries and the mediums, although I did time with guys who were in those and worked their ways down. And this video today is about the Super Bowl in prison and gambling in prison. I got a viewer out there, a subscriber, Stan. You asked me to do a video about gambling, so I'm going to give it a shot. So I didn't really partake in all the poker games and stuff, but I stood there and watched enough of them, and I know a little bit about what goes on in there. And the Super Bowl is a big deal, and there's a lot of gambling that goes on there. So I know that all the prisons have poker tables, and all the prisons gamble, the highs, the mediums, the lows, everything. So I got a little kind of slideshow here. Let's see. So, like I said, the Super Bowl's coming up. It's a big deal. I know all the prison channels on Sunday are going to do, they're going to have Super Bowl prison videos everywhere. I'm going to beat them to the punch a little. But, so the Super Bowl is a very big deal. Here's the problem. There's, right now it's quarantine. So not a lot of the TV rooms are going to be open. Well, I would imagine for the Super Bowl, they're going to open up their main TV rooms. Well, the way it works in a federal prison camp is you have TV rooms, and ours had 14 chairs in there. Now, when I said ours, that was the whites. So I lived in a building of about 200 guys with 8 different ranges, maybe 25 guys on each range. We had 4 or 5 TV rooms in my building. The one next door had 4 or 5 TV rooms. So you got one just for black people. You got one just for white people. You got one for the Texans, because I was in Colorado. You got one for the Paisas. Paisa, that's the Mexican guys, right? Some prisons, they got the Serenos, Norteños, the Paisas, and the homeboys, and it's all, there's probably 50% Hispanics in the federal prison system, at least in the camps and the lows. I think it changes when you get to the upper ones. But these are the non-violent guys. These are the cool homeboys. Most of them, anyways, because we don't have the politics in a camp. Well, you don't have to join a gang. There's very few fights, but there's fights when it comes to gambling. And there's fights over sports. But I've never seen anybody get shanked. I've never seen anybody get stabbed. But I've seen them get the fuck beat out of them. And it's over gambling. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So the TV room I was in, when I first got there, they told me there was a 2-year waiting list to get on the waiting list to get a chair. And we had 14 chairs. Now, in the mornings, there wasn't a lot of people in TV rooms. They said, go ahead and sit there. But when our shows like Animal Kingdom come on and Walking Dead and all that, you ain't getting a chair. You could stare through the window. And most of the TV rooms, you got to put on headphones to hear the TV. So you got to have either an MP3 player or an FM radio. Now, the little TV rooms, you didn't need that, but the bigger ones did. So when I say the bigger ones, so in some of our rec rooms, we had like 3 or 4 big widescreen TVs, and it's all for sports. And then they had one for news, and anybody could sit there, any race, anything. And like I said, in the camp, I mean, the black guys, if there's 3 black guys sitting there and they're empty, and they'll let a white guy sit and watch a game with them. I mean, they're not, they don't really like to, but but they will. You can get invited into somebody else's TV room as a guest, and it's like your race isn't going to beat you up. You know, in the chow hall, most races sit together, but a lot of guys mix, and it's not a big deal. It's totally different at a camp. We're nonviolent criminals. We're nonviolent people. We're nonviolent personalities at a camp. So some people get that mixed up. So when you get, anyways, let me get back to the Super Bowl. So like I was saying, it's a big deal, the Super Bowl. So a lot of people like to gamble on the Super Bowl, and they gamble all year long on baseball, on basketball, on football, and poker's the big one. So guys make up these parlay cards or these football cards, and you'll see these everywhere. So you got your bookies in prison, you got your regular bookies, and a lot of these guys, I see them. They're on the email. They're on the, they're calling like somebody on the outside to get all the stats, the overs, the unders. And see, I don't really know what the overs and unders, and a lot of you sports guys do. I just never got into the football cards, guys. But I watched a lot of these guys spend a lot of money on these cards. Now, in federal prison camps, this is our money. This is a bag of tuna, okay? It's tuna in a bag. It costs $1.45, but it's valued at $1.50. So they give you a free nickel. And it's 2 bags of tuna is usually the price for everything, so that's $3. Cost you $2.90. You save a dime. Now, in the mediums, in the penitentiaries, it's all about stamps. And some other camps, I hear, they take stamps. They don't want nothing to do with stamps in the camp. They can't use them. They don't want them. And if you buy a book for $10, it's worth $7 if you can find somebody to buy it. But a lot of these football squares, it's all about you lay down 2 tunas and you win 5 tunas back, things like that. Let me get, so, and then you got, here's another parlay card. And, a lot of guys make these parlay cards up. We do have copy machines there. And there's there's no internet, but guys find a way to print something up and then get it copied. And they make these parlay cards and they sell them. Then these guys have your squares. Now, I played these. I do gamble on these. So you buy a square. So maybe there's 4 quarters in the game, and you put 1 tuna down on a square, and let's say, and then every quarter I can win 25 tunas back, something like that. 20 tunas back, and the guy who's running the game keeps 5 tunas. They have different ways to do it. Now these I did, and you'll see these all year long. Another one is here's a better one that somebody kind of took their time and they drew their Patriots on there and all that, and you're gonna find fancy ones, and you're gonna find some guys are the bookie and they run this and they have guys working for them. You got your little independent guy and he just wants to run his own little square for him and his buddies, But then you get into poker. Now poker's the big gambling. This is what's going to get you hurt. This is what's going to get you in debt. This is what's going to get you beat up. Now, I've seen these guys play. There's poker tables in every prison. Every prison. And these guys, you got a bunch of inmates sitting around playing poker. In the federal prison camps, you got these white-collar business guys, these lawyers, these doctors, these stockbrokers, and they got money on the outside. And I watch them play, and they're betting. Every pot, I've seen pots for $1,200 and $500 and $700, and they're betting $100 a hand. I don't know how they afford it, but you got guys who run these poker tables, and they're bringing out cocktails. They're bringing out the real stuff, Patron and Jim Beam and Jack Daniels, and because we get the real stuff in the camp, because there's no fences, so all kinds of stuff gets in there. And yes, the guards know about it. Sometimes they look the other way. Sometimes they catch you. But there's guys. So anyways, it's kind of like Vegas. And they'll take a smoke break, and they'll hand out a cigarette to the players, and they'll give them a shot, and they'll take their shot and their cigarette break, and they'll all come back to the table. And it's just like being in Vegas, man. And these guys got some big, large pots. Now, I'm not sure these guys who run the tables, how they back them up. I don't know if all the money's sent to an outside source, and then because they give them they make homemade poker chips, and they give these guys the poker chips, and then at the end of the game, whenever they leave, they cash in. Like you take your chips to the cage, you cash in. So I'm not sure if they showed up with 500 packs of tuna in their hand and laid it to the guy, or they had money sent on an outside account. And I'm not sure the guys who run the table how it's paid out. But I know some tables don't take credit and some do. And the guys who take credit, I mean, here's the problem. A guy, they give a guy credit, and he's down $800, and he says he'll pay you next week, and then he wants to play the next day, and they give him, a lot of these are $100 buy-in tables, and they let him play the next day, and he gets down, and then. Anyways, the guy will get in debt $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 in debt. And then he, in a camp, guys are getting out soon. It's 10 years or less in the camp, and a lot of guys are just doing a couple of years, and they got to be careful who they give credit to, because the guy might be leaving in 2 months, and if he can avoid you and pay, so these guys get beat up for not paying their bill. They get beat up really, really bad. So, I mean, when I watch these guys play poker, you see here I got a picture of jokers playing poker. This is pretty much what these guys are. They're addicted to it. They get in their gambling debts, and they can't pay, and they, stick their head. There's nowhere to run in a camp. I mean, other than we don't have a fence, but, and they could run away from their gambling debt. But here's the thing. It's like this says, you need to pay me now. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to take you in the bathroom. And a lot of the tables are run by the Prizes and stuff. And they're going to take you in the bathroom, and they're just going to beat the fuck out of you. 5 or 6 guys are going to lump you, and they're going to cover their hands, and they're going to make sure there's no marks on them. And here's the thing. Now what are you going to do? Are you going to go cry to the guard? No, because, if you do that, they're going to throw you in the shoe, right? And they're going to ship you off to a low, because even if it's not your fault, you get in a fight in the camp, you're out. You don't ever come back to a camp again. You got new charges, whether you're the victim or not. And these guys know that. The guys who are getting beat up with their gambling debts, they know that. They know they can't say anything. So they're in a tough fucking spot. They come up with the money. They call their family. They come up with the money. They just come up with the money. Very rarely will they go cry to the guards. And the guards are just going to laugh. The guards know all the poker games go on in there. The guards are just going to laugh at you. You know what I mean? They're not going to help you. So do not get in. Here's the thing. You shouldn't be playing high-stakes poker in prison. And what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Use that money for your family, or give it to some needy families out there and stuff. But I mean, I guess some of these guys got the money. Stick to the little football pools or something. But yeah, I see too many people get beat up in a prison over a gambling debt. Another thing about Super Bowl is the food. They feed you pretty good. Super Bowl Sunday, they're gonna have lots of hamburgers, lots of hot dogs. So the meal for Super Bowl Sunday, it's usually hot wings and a hamburger, or a hot dog, or all three: wings, hot dog, and a hamburger, and sometimes French fries, and a salad bar, and potato salad, and an ice cream or pie or something like that. And it's a pretty good Super Bowl meal. It's not bad at all. And today I found out that the groundhog came out of the ground, and we have 6 more weeks of winter. It's Groundhog Day here. Anyways, that's about it. That's what I got for Super Bowl Sunday in prison and gambling in prison. And if you really got a problem with gambling, man, go to gambling. Start a Gamblers Anonymous meeting. Do something, man. If you're going to prison and you got that bad of a gambling problem, you need to work on yourself, okay? Life's not going to get any better when you leave. That you're going to carry that gambling problem with you. So I hope you get help for it. Anyways, guys, subscribe to the channel. Give it a like. And ring that bell for the next video. Thanks for watching.